Todd was about to be executed,
Ugh.
and the saving of that execution turned into us speaking about this movie, 3 different lives that's infected in incredible ways. From a dog.
Jim Breuer.
Jim
Breuer.
Jim Breuer.
Jim Breuer.
Jim Breuer.
Hey, this is Jim Breuer.
Just so everyone knows, hello everybody. If you're not watching on Spotify, there's a video you can now click and you can watch it. There's certain movies in my lifetime that have, like, I have my favorite movies. I always have my favorite movies. But there's certain movies that I see that I can relate to on so many levels. They either inspire me, they give me a lesson. And so I already did one of them. One of them was the Captain Fantastic. So I asked Mike and Margot if they would watch this movie called The Biggest Little Farm, because this movie maybe did nothing for them. Maybe Mike's going to tell me that was the worst. Why would you suggest for me to sit that long and watch that nonsense?
That is one big pile of shit.
I doubt he's going to say that, but Margot, she may start crying in the middle of this because I already know my crew. I know the movies that are gonna. All right, so we're gonna start with.
I'll bring Margot in.
Yeah, we'll bring Margot in. I knew you were gonna love this. That's
I
fine.
might start crying. You're right. There's a very real possibility. So prepare.
I want to start out by saying that, number one, I cried more than my girlfriend.
You cried too, Mike?
Dude, within the first 5 minutes, I'm crying. I look over my girlfriend and I say, Jim, why would he do this to us?
Yeah, I texted Mike and I said, please tell me, do I need, like, am I going to need to walk out of the room? Am I going to need to fast forward? And he was like, oh, I cried in the first 5 minutes. I was like, damn it, why would Jim do this to us?
It was a wave of emotions, man. Up and down, up and down. Oh my God.
It was.
I'll tell you why I love this movie. Was because I don't care what anyone thought or whatever you were going through. Do you know how many people were going, I'm going off the grid. I'm going to get a farm. I'm going to start growing my own food. I'm going to start making my own herbs. But we're so tied into this system that this is all we know and this is all we're taught and this is all we do. There's a part of us that goes, our heart and desire goes, oh my God, I want to do this. But there's also like, like sitting having a latte and being on the computer for 7 hours and going through TikTok and listening and getting angry every day in politics. I'm in my comfort zone. This movie hit. I'll tell you how it hit me. A, you don't realize how hard farming is until you see this. B, on a deeper level for me, I was blown away how, like, if they had an issue with, I don't know,
Snails.
Yep. Instead of bringing the snail killer or something to spray it and get rid of it, they figure out how the earth works. You know, the bird eats the worm. The worm is makes the soil soft. The something eats the bird. The thing eats that, and then he poops, and then the poop turns into irrigation for a whole new plant life, and it creates air, and we're breathing the air. It brought me back to the true essence that everything has a meaning in this lifetime. Everything. And it made me go, wow, we are so far gone from understanding that everything that exists, including us, have a deeper purpose than we can imagine. And I don't think we're even close. That's what this movie did for me. Like, wow, this proves over and over. I felt like every child, don't go to a farm. I mean, you can go to a farm, but kids should watch this.
Hmm.
They should have this in, like, if there's going to be new schools, I saw this as a type of class. My daughter Lily said, "Dad, we should take farming together." She's in college. And I went, "Are you want to take farming?" She's like, "Yeah, I think I'm going to take farming. You should take it with me." I'm like, I may take a farming class because I know, Margot, you're dying to farm. You're dying to do something like that. And I talk too much already. So I'll let you talk about the movie however you'd like.
I thought the movie was spectacular. I won't lie. There were parts where I had to cover my eyes in earmuffs. I watched it with Mark, so he would tell me when the part was like there was a part with the coyote, the part with Greasy, the beginning with Todd and the animal shelter. Seeing animals suffering, it makes me start to cry just talking about it. I can't do it. But outside of that, I don't want to cry in the first 5 minutes of this podcast. So
it was reality. It's real. That's what I liked about it.
It was.
Go ahead.
It's the cycle of life playing out how it plays out. And I think that I have so many things to say, but you're saying like what this movie meant to you. And yes, this is my dream. I cried throughout it, even at not the sad animal parts. And Mark was like, "Why are you crying?" I was like, "Because I want to do this. Like, I will throw everything I have away to go just do this." But I think that the way that they address problems, like you said, and kind of giving up a little control and knowing that, trusting in that things will work themselves out and finding a solution that is natural and doesn't hurt somebody. They never stopped like adapting to this farm, which is, I think, a good parallel for life, that we kind of always have to keep adapting. I think that it was really interesting to see how much they cared about those animals, but yet they're still selling the pigs. I mean, that was really hard for me to get behind. Like, you pulled this pig out of Emma and watched it grow up, and now you're putting it in a trailer and shipping it off to be bacon. And I know that's what happens, but that's not happening at my farm. I can't do that. Nope, we're gonna have pigs forever. Home.
Anything that comes out of Emma, that's it. You know, my mom told a story. I guess when she was a lot younger, I guess her father had this place in, I want to say, Miller Place, Long Island, New York, and she would talk about how they had a little farm, and I'm pretty sure it was. I'm pretty sure it was a pig that they had. And, the pig went, and Dad, she's like, I couldn't eat. I had a name for him and everything. I talked to him. No, I can't do it.
No,
I can't do it. And so it was that stuff. And this is why I say, if you want the real emotions, see, you went through the real emotions. And those are things that I think about too. Like, this is one of the reasons why I won't have a dog or puppies. If I have puppies, I'm not giving them away. I'm not selling my dog. No,
never.
They're all staying. Everybody, This house is for everybody. I don't have. She just had 17 kittens. Then we're getting a barn.
Exactly.
There we go.
Looks like we got an add-on.
Tell you what we won't have is mice. I'll tell you that. We're not going to have chipmunks. We're not going to have mice. But the one part of the movie freaked me out was seeing the fire.
Mm.
And in the beginning, when they kind of show you that, you're like, wait a minute. Don't don't take me on this journey.
That's what I said.
Don't. I was about
It was like,
3/4.
I can't do this.
Yeah,
I can't do this.
Me too. I was like 3/4 full, and I went, don't. If you. Oh my God, I forgot about the beginning. I'm gonna hate this. I'm gonna hate this. Why would they do this? But it's not what you think, and I was so happy and relieved that. So if you haven't seen the movie and you start watching it, we're gonna tell you everything here.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, don't get freaked out. It's been out long enough, and if you haven't seen it yet, that's on you. We're gonna help you here, but you're still gonna love it. You're still, even us telling you things, you're still gonna be blown away, without a doubt.
Mike, how about you? Because you want to do this too. Like me and Mike have talked about. I mean, I think pretty early on when we were like first getting, I had first started, we were first getting to know each other. This somehow came up. Like, I was like, I want to start, like my dream, my end goal in life is to have land and be able to rescue animals, farm animals, dogs, cats, all animals. And it's their forever home. They can live there forever. And Mike was like, me too. Same. That's what I want to do. And so we've talked about how this is something that would interest both of us, I think. So it must have been interesting. I mean, Mike, you must have loved this as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in all honesty, like I would love to start out with just sustainability, chickens giving the eggs, growing my own fruits and vegetables, just stuff to live and then build on that, because you saw how massive that farm was. That whole ecosystem was huge. But if it wasn't for Alan that guided them, I feel like they wouldn't have, gone the way they have gone. And I feel like without him and his knowledge, they wouldn't have been able to prosper as well as they did. But I could be wrong. I could totally be wrong. But I mean,
dude.
A filmmaker and a chef to do this,
huge.
like I said, ecosystem was huge. I couldn't believe how big it was. But it all fed off each other. It was great.
Yeah. It was the worms, the composting, like just so cool. And the ducks are eating the snails. And I don't ever want to see anything die. But if that's sustaining another animal, I can get behind. I can deal with that.
I mean, that's life. I mean, when I go on like safaris, it's you just see how, oh my God, this poor thing was just born and it's just learning to run, and all of a sudden, this guy comes like, hey man, I'm gonna come over here and eat it. So you don't have to watch. I mean, if you want to watch, you can watch. But I'm just telling you, like, oh my God. But
it's life.
Everything helps the next species, and it all bleeds into Earth.
Yeah.
That's what seems to be the God. It was.
And then even that, things die, and then it decomposes into the ground and gives the ground nutrients and allows things to grow. It's, it's
the life cycle.
But don't you think doesn't it make you realize though? Like, I feel like that should be impounded in not to sound. It's so funny, people call tree. It almost sounds like a tree hugger, but to understand what the balance of life is, you might start like I feel when we understand that over and over and over and it's out there over and over in your head, you'll start to understand yourself and have more value in yourself and with others and everything else. It's that's what I keep getting out of this stuff. I know it sounds.
No, I think balance is such a good word, because that is like for the whole thing, because isn't that what everyone is kind of seeking throughout most of, like, some type of balance between your work life and your personal life, balance between everything. And that's what they were always after on the farm, some type of balance between like stepping in and helping things, but also letting nature handle things in the way that nature is going to handle things. And it was such a good metaphor for that.
See, when I watch this stuff, it makes me go, not only like a farm, like I want to not open up. See, we always think like we got to start a business or we got to start a thing. It's like, wouldn't it be cool when kids are young?
Yes. that they come and they learn and they get to see what's happening in real life at this. I don't know. I'm sorry. I jumped right in.
Yes. No. But that's yeah, Margot. That's exactly what the direction I was going. I mean,
Yep.
can you imagine what a child, like an 8-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old, and here's the and I bet you'd find a lot less ADHD, especially if they don't have electronics around them, or they don't have
Sugar.
all these vision or sugar or anything else. But teach them how everything's connected and how a farm works. They don't have to be a farmer, but I wish I had this knowledge.
Totally.
I wish we had enough. Think of what I learned. I don't even know what I learned in school. I can't even tell you when Christopher Columbus discovered America. We even have Columbus Day. I can't even tell you when was the revolution? 1770.
I taught that. I was a teacher and I couldn't tell you. And half the time when I was teaching, I was like, why am I teaching this?
Square root, blah, blah.
Exactly.
Well, why do I need, what is going on here? Is this like some Arabic underneath language that only certain people, like what is going on here? What is going on?
No, you could learn so much. Kids could learn so much more from spending time on a farm about the cycle of life, about finding balance, about nutrition, healthy eating, about kindness towards others and animals. And I mean, like, there's literally every lesson that you could possibly need to learn, you could learn on a farm, I feel like, especially after seeing this.
I feel like too, like, like kids will go to, the last, I used to make a joke and say, you know what they used to call therapist back in the day? Friends. But what I mean by that, and no disrespect to therapists, you're incredible and all that jazz. But so many people like go through whatever, where there's divorce and the 3 kids and the emotions of those kids. No one's tapping into their emotions as they go to school, and they're supposed to be learning, and they're still now they're getting envious because this family going through all these emotions and no one knows what's wrong with them. But I feel like when you put more and more people in environments like this, or environments in nature, or environments where they're learning about being more connected to something deeper, I'm going to say most thrive, and thrive very well, compared to whatever drug they're prescribed. And it makes me, dude, it really makes me wonder. See, this is where, like, should I put my glasses on for this rabbit hole that I'm about to go on?
Do it.
This is rabbit hole. Then I start thinking, well, if you really think about it, think of how we've all reacted just on the concept of this movie, being connected, understanding the balance of every single thing that lives on Earth, including the soil and trees and all that jazz. Okay. Of course, they started buying out farmers years and years ago. And then instead of 6 pigs, it became 350 pigs in a factory, and chickens, 15 billion chickens. And they just became money products. And they lost all connection to the complete balance of everything. And then I don't see, then I start going into, I totally think that was all done on purpose, because that's the last lessons of human life, like natives learning the land, learning how everything's connected. And it makes me really start wondering if that's so important and makes people feel so good. Like, we all feel great inside when we even think about it, and we experience it. Have we ever had those feelings in school or in like, are you kidding me?
No.
Like deep in your soul like that? No.
No.
But I don't, dude, makes me wonder. But instead of dwelling on what may have happened or if it was done on purpose or not, I think opportunities like this to see movies like this and get that feeling start to and people start feeling it again, going towards the future is way more valuable. But we do have to understand what happened to all this.
Yeah.
It's like that. What's that Bob Marley? Bob Marley has a song because you don't know your past, you won't know your future. Tomorrow, people.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, people. Don't know your past, you won't know your future.
I wish
say the lyrics right?
that farming was our future. I mean, this
I
is.
think it is though.
I mean,
I think it
should be,
is.
but like, do you ever, not to get too deep, but like sometimes I think, and I love what I do. I love what I do. I like my life, but sometimes I'm like, but what is the point of like what is the end goal? What am I working towards? Like what are we all working towards to retire to what? And so I think like I would love to do that now. That is that would be my purpose, to live in harmony with the earth and take care of animals. And and yes, I would like to do it with, I'd love to bring my dad, I'd love to bring, I'd love to do it with people that I love and care about and work together. And so there is no retirement. This is my life. This is what I do. And I know that, and that's hard, I think, to get our heads around that concept, because everything comes back to money. Well, how am I going to make money? How am I going to survive? How am I going to do all this? Which I mean is reality, unfortunately, but it just feels like, Mark and I talk about this a lot. Like, well, what are you working for? Like, why? What are you trying to get to? We're not going to have kids. So like, what's the goal here to live? I don't want to work until I retire. And then what? And then what am I doing?
I saw my parents. I saw both my parents. I don't know how they did it. Both World War II era people. Dad's born in 23. Dad's 20. And my mom's 1926. I'm born in 67. I watched them go through all that. I watched them bust their. My dad got my mom pregnant in his mid 40s. Back then, that's like 67 now. That's like, if you're 67 right now having a kid, that was my dad when he was 44. He's already gotten past his chasing possums to eat. He's gotten past being in the Philippines for 3 years. Oh, we got to go over there. As a gunner, the bottom of a plane. Where you going? Oh, no, just keep shooting. And then it's like, hey, go have some children. We're the best. Make sure you're there for the VFW parade this weekend, where we're going to celebrate them with some hot dogs and a statue of like a couple guys. Okay. It's like, you get past all that. You catch his wife with the neighbor. He's got 3 kids. He's drinking his life away. And after he gets my mom pregnant, right? He's already working as a garbage man, and my mom's working for Pan Am. Yeah, he's working 3 jobs, but still the main job, he had to work till he was like 63, and he would walk there. My mom worked till she was like 60. I always say this. They probably had 10 good years. 10 good years. No health issues. They moved to Florida. 10 years of crushing it. They were like on spring break from that moment up. Think of busting your balls.
It's not enough.
And chasing, and everybody's got to work. Everybody's got to work. Male has to work. Female has to work. Mom has to work. Dad has to work. It's gone too far. It's gone too far. And you do that, like you said, Margot. What are we doing this for? What are we doing this for? Who does our tax money go to? So not only do we work, we got to take the money and give it to. Yeah, here's. Would you ever? I wouldn't give my kid 40% of my money. I wouldn't give my mother 40% of my money. I wouldn't give my best friend 40%. We give the government 40%. And then we're going to war, and then we're going here, and then watch the news. That'll keep you happy. It's like,
no, we give them 40% of our money, and we give, 75% of our life. I mean, to work your whole life, to have 10 good years is so unfair and ridiculous.
It's crazy.
terrible. I don't want to. And I understand there's doctors and there's people who have careers that they love and they have a purpose every day of waking up. And I'm not saying that I don't or other people don't, but I understand some people love working, and I love working. I know Mark loves working. Also,
I agree. Passion working different.
Right. But Mark's a construction superintendent. He doesn't love working. He works to make money. Okay, but for what? Like, for what?
To live,
so that
unfortunately,
you're right. Yeah, so you can live. I guess
watch the ball game and have Mike sub pubs or whatever subs,
which is why
Jersey Mike subs.
That John and Molly figured it out. I mean, I don't know how they raised enough money to buy a farm like that in California. It blows my mind. However, they did, and I love that they did. I think that's
one of my. That's one of my.
You can get loans. You can get farm loans.
Really?
I actually dug into this a little bit. Yeah, you create an LLC and then you get a farm loan through that LLC, and then they give you enough money to start getting your farm up and running. But that's a good place to start.
Okay.
Think about this. I've been to countries, I want to say mostly African, where if you're a citizen, you're given a farm.
No shit.
Wow.
And that's your farm, and you get, I believe, I could be wrong, a certain amount of livestock. But that's like your big golden prize. And I remember first seeing these concepts, and you're so programmed of what, quote, success is, or what poor is compared to rich. Another great Marley saying, what you mean rich? What you mean? Like stuff? Like money? If it, no, I got love, I got heart. I'm very rich in that. I'm kind and soul. That's why I'm rich. But with stuff, no. There's no such thing as rich.
Yep.
I was like, now I added a lot to that quote, so don't. I don't want to hear the comments saying that's not what the quote is. Part of his quote was in there, and I elaborated because I didn't know the exact quote. So keep the comments to yourself. Okay. You get what the intention was when I started talking about Bob Marley quote. And that's all. That's the only thing that's important.
I think Chappelle said something similar too when he was talking with his dad, and he said something like, "Dad, are we poor?" He goes, "No, we're not poor. We're broke. There's a difference."
Oh, my friend said that to me.
Oh, wow.
Because I was complaining, and he's like, "You're not poor. You're broke right now. You're not poor though." And I was like, "Okay, explain that to me." And he did. And you can be broke, and then you can come into, you can fix that. Poor is he said, poor is it's a state of mind. It's a state of living. And
correct.
And that's not, that's true. I agree with that. I think, but some people love stuff, and for those people, great. Then this is the perfect world for you to live in. This is the perfect country and world. If you love stuff and you love money, and all you want to do is collect as much money as you can so you can buy more stuff, great. But at the end of the day, I would love to wake up every single day and be so happy to do what I'm doing, to go see my aunt, to feed my animals, to help life be happening, to to be living in harmony with the earth and growing my own food. And I mean, everything we're saying, so I don't need to repeat it, but that's rich. That's being rich.
You know what this reminded me of too? It got me back into, do you remember being a kid? I don't know if you guys ever did this, but once in a while I remember these like flashes of my life where you're just sitting in the grass, maybe near a tree, and you're just laying on the grass, looking up at the sky, either through the trees. And it sounds so simple, but just the feeling of the grass, the smell of it, the sun, the leaves, the feeling of like a soft like wind, were those moments in time. I know it sounds weird or whatever, but like I can do that for hours.
Yeah.
Being in that peace, just being in that peace. It's really anyway.
Well, and
That's what this movie did.
Yeah.
We've been going on for over a half hour, almost 40 minutes. But that's why I love movies like this.
Yeah, because it reminds you, like, I mean, you said simple, like that's so simple laying in the grass. Yes, it is. But shouldn't life be simpler? Like, I want my life to be simple. I want it to be simple. I am, laying in the grass, feeding the cows, things like that. Like that life has gotten so complicated. And sometimes it's just like, why? It would be great to go back to simpler things.
We got to get some farmland before this podcast comes out, because there's going to be a mad rush.
Oh yeah.
Yep. We're only going to be able to get like an acre in Arkansas.
Would it be cool to go to Apricot Lane Farms? I wanted to know if they like, it seems like they have guests come and tour the farm and stuff. I think that would be so neat to go see it.
They made a second one, but I never saw it.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, I didn't have much of a desire to see it.
Oh, I mean, how do you?
The first one was so good that I'm like, I can't. No. I don't need to see anymore. No. It was like Avatar. I don't need to see a second one.
Mm-mm.
I get it. You're still beautiful, and now you're in the ocean. Got it. I get the whole thing.
Can we talk about Todd? And I thought that was such an interesting way to frame this movie, that like Todd represented this, like
the dog.
Yeah, that they did it for Todd. And
everything was for the dog.
Everything was for
That's
the
how
dog.
this all started.
Yeah. And that like he represented this idea of like a better life. And they did it for Todd, and then in turn ended up helping, themselves, the animals, the earth, the land.
Todd was about to be executed.
Ugh.
And the saving of that execution turned into us speaking about this movie, 3 different lives that's infected in incredible ways. From a dog. Think about that. Right now, there's some stoners like, whoa.
Well, think about how that one small choice, one small decision can change the entire course of your life so dramatically.
And those moments bring me to, I'm full of sayings today. I feel like I'm way too much in the prophetizing, which I know is not a right word. So leave your comments to yourself. I know you're going to go, he makes up words when he babbles and blah, blah, blah. I know. That's me. So relax and keep your comments to yourself. But see, now I forgot what I was going to say because the comments threw me off.
Those moments in life when one small moment.
Yes. Thank you. Those are the moments, Margot, where like, just like you said, this one little decision leads to X, Y, Z, but the decision makers have no clue the way it's affected the outside world and the outside energy that they don't even know exists or even cares about. That brings me back to a saying that it rings in my head all the time. One person can change the world for the better as long as he what? Don't give a damn who gets the credit.
No.
Such a simple statement. One person can change the world for the better, the whole world for the better, as long as they don't give a damn who gets the credit. That is,
I love it.
I love that saying.
I love
I
it.
do too. Yeah.
Hmm.
You know, and I know some people that live today that like to try to change the world for the better or claim they're changing the world for the better, but they make sure they go out of their way to let you know
Hmm.
who should get the credit and who should get the paycheck and who should get to have Christmas this year.
Well, in this
Those
case, it was Todd who
listening know
changed their world.
exactly who you are. But Todd, yes.
Todd changed their whole world. And I think, and I just thought it was a really sweet way to frame the movie that it starts with them saving Todd. And then at the end, Todd dies and they bury him back in the land. I'm going to cry. Sorry.
No, that's okay. You are deep animal lover. Wow.
Well, a lot of people also need to realize this too, as far as a pet goes or anything like that. You know, your pet's life for its entire life, 15 years, 16, 17 years, you are their life. They're only a part of your life for a small period of time.
Correct.
So true. And even though they're in your life for a small time, like they can change. I mean, obviously Todd changed their life, and Todd inspired the change to change many people's lives. It was really beautiful how he buried Todd on the land and said, you know, Todd inspired us to start this journey, and now Todd's body will give back to the soil and give back to the land. And I just thought it was so beautiful.
Well,
yeah.
I got one for you, and it is. And for those of you who don't know, basically the movie is they're getting evicted if they don't get rid of their dog. They say they got the dog from the pound, this dog Todd. And Margot, I don't remember, did they already do this at least one other time where they had to move? I don't remember. Or they already moved.
Well,
was this like their second
everything.
or third apartment?
Yeah, they tried everything. They had different trainers. They tried all kinds of stuff, and nothing worked. That was it. And then they got
nothing worked with Todd, and it was either move out or you got to give him back to the pound.
Right.
And so that led her to go, Molly, you know what? I want to buy a farm. This is the notion. This is the sign. Let's do it. Their family thought they were nuts. And this is pre-COVID. This is not COVID. It was before that. And that's where the movie begins. And it's just unbelievable. And the dog, Todd. So with that said, Margot, I was just thinking about this. I'm looking at a lot of footage from my last trip. And I remember I went to a place. Now, this is in Africa. And I don't know if other customs do this, which is another thing which I always ask about, like funerals. If you think of our funerals, they're so morbid. They're so sad. It cost a lot of money.
When my father passed away, I had never had to experience burying someone of my family. I went to the funeral home to go through this book of what should we bury him in? What flowers should we have? I'm like, I sat there. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like, really? Like, we're okay. It's $20,000 to put him in the cheapest box. And we got to get this. This is my dad. And we're talking about how much money is going to cost to bury. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, I don't understand why the minute you're born, you got a number and you're stamped and you hit a certain age and you start working. And then even in death, let's fucking charge him $50,000 to bury him in the ground. Are you kidding me?
Yep. We can't charge dad, but we can charge his kid.
Right. But that's besides the point. But it's like, you just put me on a boat, Viking funeral, throw a flaming arrow at me. I don't need a box, dude. Put me in the ground.
Yep.
I like the new concept now that you can get buried and turn into a tree.
Yes, I
Did you
do.
hear
Do
about
you know
that?
how much that costs?
All right,
You can't.
stop. What?
Oh, that's
Wait.
a fortune.
Is it really?
Wait.
Mhm.
And there's no reason for it to be a fortune. You could do that. Listen, this is where I was going with this. I can't believe you just brought that up. So in Africa, we went to, a guy came and he's like, do you guys want to go see? It's really special. It's like an anniversary of one of the elders that passed away. And it's like so many moons have passed and they're having a thing tonight. Yeah, let's go. So we go to this little village. And at the village, the way they bury each other is you sit down in a chair. They put them in a chair, all right? Then they put dirt around them and they plant a seed. So you become one with the tree and your spirit continues to exist and you become one with the earth. That doesn't cost money. It's part and who gets away with making these things where you got to pay for them?
Yeah,
Those people are demons.
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
I really do think we're in the middle of a great awakening because the choices that we've just been put in front of our faces and us not knowing what we could have been doing in our lifetime or understanding in our lifetime and it's been extremely limited but I do think we're in the middle of what they'll say, oh my God, the great aha, because there's so much information. No offense to funeral companies, but does everything have to cost money? I mean, how amazing, you're home and what a way to do that. What a way to do that. And always go back. See, then here comes the overlord of me going, well, yes, this probably happened for centuries and the trees are spirits. Yes, because they came from someone who passed and something seeded it. Could have been an animal. And what better way to kill these spirits than to chop them all down and put cement on top? Suck that. We'll build buildings and we shall rule the world as their lizard tongue comes out and they count their money. Keep working, slaves.
Yep.
I'm back and I apologize. But I had to go on that rant.
No, that makes sense. I mean, could you imagine if there was like a cemetery of just people buried, but it was just trees? You know, like you get a little plaque on there maybe or whatever, or not even no plaque. It's a forest of life.
Mike, what you just said, I love what you just said. I would go out of my way. Who goes out of their way to walk through cemeteries?
Right.
Some people are scared of them. They keep you off there's boogeyman in there, and there's ghost in there, and there's all dead people. But can you imagine walking through a forest and you go, this is where all people, like how it came about? You know how many people would want to walk through that forest?
I would.
And I would. I'm
sure.
signing up for that right now. That's amazing.
But not only that, but in death, you're bringing life. It's all goes back around.
Wow.
Reduce, reuse, recycle. Come on.
Hey,
folks.
I did learn that in school.
Right?
That stuck with me. Actually, it's funny you say that. My mom is buried here in Tucson at a cemetery that is beautiful. And I don't know why they do it, but they do every few months, they do a movie night in the cemetery. So next month, me and Mark are going to movie night in the cemetery, and we're going to like sit by my mom's where she's buried and watch a movie in the cemetery with other people. You don't have to have a person buried there to go, but right. I think it's really interesting. And there are a lot of trees, but yes, on the same court, if there was a cemetery where there was tons of trees and no headstones, and I mean,
because you're cutting down trees to put in these cement. Like what? Yeah. What's the point?
Well, right. Well, think about this: as you're a kid, you can climb the tree. knowing that's like your great great grandfather. You can sit under the tree in the shade, and just be at peace.
Yeah.
You can. There's so many things.
Okay, guys, let's do it. I think we need to start a community. We're going to start a big farm, and on the property, we're going to have a cemetery where whenever somebody dies, we bury them and plant a tree.
Tree farms.
Yep.
Tree farms.
Yeah.
Wow, there's a lot going on today in this podcast.
It's all your fault, Jim.
Yeah, the documentary.
Yeah, and I want everyone to know too. When I talk about like today, I don't know. I've never met these people that made the movie. I don't get endorsed by any movie company. I don't get endorsed by anyone. This is everything I do here is strictly out of passion and interest. I just want everyone to know that it's passion. That's all it is. We're not doing movies all the time. Wait till you see. I got to think real hard what my next movie is. I have them. I just got to see what directions I can send everyone on their emotions.
You've done really well so far. I mean, when I say that I sent this to my dad, and he's a hard sell on anything. He is a very kind of grumpy, older Italian.
How old is he?
He's 75 this year. Great.
Wow.
Shape,
okay. Yeah.
He rides his bicycle every day, goes running. I mean, you never know it. Had half of his.
He's seen a lot. He's 75. Of course. What are you showing me, Margot?
Yeah.
Margot, I love you. What are we doing? What are we watching?
He really doesn't watch much because he hates commercials, and everything has commercials on it now, which is funny because he used to make commercials. But I sent it to him and I was like, this is your next watch. And he said, okay, I'm going to watch it. And he looked at the trailer and he's like, I'm definitely going to watch it. Because I think he's the same. He would go do this. He would come work on a farm in a second. And I cannot say, thank you for giving us this to watch. I was cursing you a little bit in some of the moments, but ultimately it was so deeply meaningful and a really moving, special documentary.
Yeah, I got to think about the next one because I want the listeners to know too. Listen, I'm just being honest. I feel like all these have tremendous lessons, at least for me. For Margot, there was, for Mike, there was, and that's all we need. There were lessons for us. If it helps you with certain lessons, that's all I'm going for. I'm not telling you need to watch movies like that. You need to start feeling what we felt. But I personally think you will enjoy what we put out there. Captain Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that movie.
Loved it.
And now it's the biggest little farm. I was a zombie for like a week after this movie, and I didn't know. And I'd be like, I would just be getting. I'll have a pumpkin latte, 3 espresso shots, three. How many shots coming in? 1? Gotta get 3 extra shots. Yeah, it's awesome out. Wow, I'm like bugged out because I just. You in the farms at all? This is a weird question. For like a week and a half, like you gotta. We saw this movie. I haven't seen that Netflix series, but I just saw this movie. It blew my. It's like about a farm. It's not what you think. I was paralyzed for a week and a half of every layer of this freaking movie, and the beauty of it. That's another thing because he's in that. The beauty of and the exact detail, whether it would be a ladybug, it looked like you were looking at your child or your grandpa, and you can see every wrinkle in his head and his eyes and the veins in his eyes, and even though it was a ladybug, it was the beauty of this.
You appreciate it a lot.
God.
You appreciate everything a lot more. I feel like
everybody
should be required to watch this. I feel.
I agree. How did you know how to deliver a calf? That surprised me. He was just like pulling these pigs out, pulled the calf out by its legs. I've never seen an animal be born like that. And Emma had 17 babies.
Yeah, 17? It was pretty wild.
One after another.
Oh my God. I turned to Mark and I said, never make pork again. I won't eat it. Never again. Never again. And that is where we will pause this week. Join us next time for part 2 when we sit down with the Biggest Little Farm's John Chester.
I think we've been sold a bill of goods by The Lion King. They made us think that it was called the circle of life, and it's not a circle. The circle of life. Maybe Disney's going to sue me now, but the circle of life is a complete. It's an incomplete roadmap of our existence.
We get into how the film came to life, the challenges he and Molly faced building their farm from scratch, and the incredible ripple effect of one simple act of compassion, saving Todd. If this episode stirred something in you, just wait, because part 2 goes even deeper. Make sure you're following the Breuniverse so you don't miss it, and we'll see you next week.